everyone.
Hello, good evening to you.
It's January 18th, 2024. Can you believe it's 2024?
It's starting to sink in, yeah. Some bills arrive in droves, yeah.
At my job, I deal with not always antiques, but things that are considered vintage. And a lot of times I'll get some items in, decide whether or not we're going to put them on the shelves of the consignment store. And I'll be like, that's not that old. I don't see, why anybody would want that. And somebody comes by and looks at it and goes, wow, my grandmother had one of those. It's like 40 years old.
People recognize.
And I think,
that's vintage now.
That's vintage now.
So
something from the 1980s are vintage.
So younger than you is vintage.
Yeah.
That's
younger than me is antique cars.
Younger than springtime. Oh yeah. Well, what about oldies songs? 10 years into it, they're oldies.
Yeah. But yeah. Some songs, some bands, you look and you're like, this is the 50th anniversary, and you're like, what? 50 years ago was supposed to be like that ragtime music from the 1910s. That's what I think of when I think of vintage
Old Lang Syne, that's what we got, yeah. But January can be a bleak month, but it's a time for reflection, introspection, and paranormal speculation.
It's freaking cold.
That's I'd rather stay in and think about ghosts. I have to be outside some of the day anyway.
The ghosts come out in the cold.
Yeah, well, that was my working title of a book I'm working on. Ghosts don't feel the cold. But I have to justify that. Well, somebody did say that.
They could be out there having a party because we're all inside just trying to keep warm.
That is a nice place to envision seeing spirits when there's like a swirling snow squall outside. You look outside. It's very Dickensian, you might say.
Well,
Dickensian
he was a ghost hunter, so.
Yes, Charles Dickens was a pioneer in ghost hunting, was he?
Yes, he was.
Was he not? Yeah. The beginning of the, what would you call it, that movement? Not so much the spiritualists, but there was a way to, an approach that was taken. People were trying to get scientific about ghost hunting in the 1830s and 40s, and then really coalescing in around 1860, of course, with the advent of the Civil War, the American Civil War. But it's fascinating to think how all this started and how far have we progressed. Yeah, we've got new ideas. There have been great advances in detecting equipment. People say, well, we haven't come that far. Yeah, I think we have. We made some differences.
Yes and no. I mean, now everybody has a camera in their hand and nobody gets photographed anything yet. Although they might not be in the same spectrum of light as those cameras are able to pick up. But I don't know. It just seems like somebody should be able to see something.
And it begs the question, what are ghosts? We've got it down to they're a form of energy, but they're not electromagnetic. They can influence the environment. They can excite the electromagnetism, but they're not electricity either. We just don't know what they are. The soul can't be measured, weighed. Some people say that the body lightens by a fraction of an ounce when the soul departs, but really can't say. Maybe our guest will help us enlighten on that.
Maybe I've got some questions to ask him about ghosts and cemeteries, because that always seems to be everybody's favorite place to go look for a ghost.
Well, this is the man to talk to then.
This is the man to talk to.
Now we're waiting just a few minutes for him to arrive from work. But he is going to, beam in to see us tonight. But he has got, talk about experience, a plethora of experience through Essex County Ghost Project.
And the last I've seen on him on Facebook was that he has something great coming up. So I'm sure we're going to hear about that.
Yeah. Every year, something great and big.
Yeah, I do have some things to ask him about.
Yeah.
I've been doing some family history, and he's up in Essex County in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Lawrence, Mass is. And I found out a lot of my family was living there for a while, which I never knew.
Yeah, you're just learning about that.
So I see if he's familiar with the Lawrence Historical Society. I know it's a pretty big organization.
He must have ties with them anyway.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
see if I could drop a name, get some info.
Yeah, now I'll say in my experience with him, his name is Thomas Spitalere. Tom is a man of impeccable character, as are all our guests.
We have very good guests. I really enjoyed the last one. Michael Drive. I enjoyed talking to him. Yeah. Somebody who was actually out there, as the over one phrase is, boots on the ground, out there looking into strange things and just normal things on Earth, but just out there.
Doesn't always have to be about the ghosties, but he spoke enough about paranormal connections there.
Yes, he's not just like we've got some people just interested in the ghosts and not in the stories and the history. And some people are more interested in stories and history. He looks at the geography and the spooky things in the caves, and he's very interested in the stories that
Mhm.
go along with it, and not just stories, but things that have been handed down through generations, and lore. And there's another word I'm trying to think of that's just
Yeah.
eluding me right now.
And illness and pathogens and
Oh,
contagions
that.
and all
Oh,
things
poor
he
guy.
caught in the cave.
No,
Yeah. Oh
sorry to
God,
hear
no.
about that.
One thing he
but,
caught in the cave was something else. Yeah. He was the celebrity quarantine in the hospital ward.
So as far as us, we don't have a lot going on because it's just so cold and
We did our
nobody wants
things.
to travel. And
Mhm. Yeah,
it's
there are
really
paranormal
tough.
conferences coming up, of course.
As
We're
it
going
gets
to be
warmer,
looking to.
people will
They
be getting together.
Yeah, there's Salem Con. I think it's renamed. Some of it has the name Salem in it anyway. Maybe I'll be looking into that.
Well, you do have an event next weekend. Not a ghosty
Yes.
event, but
It could be
fun
thought of it
nonetheless.
as, yeah, not ghosty, but spooky nonetheless. And I like an author that doesn't come out and say it's a ghost, but infers the ghost. And Charles Dickens was that, because it was all a dream of Ebenezer Scrooge's. But this is going to be a tribute to Edgar Allan Poe. Need I explain who this is? The American author, Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, 1809 to 1849. And his birthday is the 19th of January. So that's what we're having it on the 20th. That's when we have the room reserved for. So while Edgar Allan Poe didn't write ghost stories per se, he didn't need to. He had psychological twists, that border on the supernatural. But then you find out it's all
madness.
Human interaction and madness.
It
Oh,
was
madness! No,
madness.
yeah, haunting doesn't hold a stick to real madness there. Although the conscience sometimes drives people mad, and that was a theme in Poe stories. So we're going to talk about Edgar Allan Poe. Actually, we're going to make Poe fun. There'll be some laughs. There'll be some shudders. I wish you could join us. I think you're occupied that day, but yeah. But if they don't need you that day, pop on over.
1980s.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah, and some of the material we're going to perform has been composed for this Edgar Allan Poe tribute. Oh, you see me gesturing here. This is 3 days in the hospital last week. Yeah. A week ago today, I was released from the hospital. I don't know what to say about it. There's a name for it. It sounds like persnickety, but it's not that. And I thought, oh, what? I lay on my fingers, a little sore at the tip. That was at about 6:30 in the morning. By noontime, I was like, I can't live like this. I can't bear this pain with my finger being on fire. And so as soon as I could get an appointment with my primary care physician was Monday. And so I went in. She says, I'm worried about you. My doctor's worried about me. And then she brought in her senior physician. Oh, yeah, he needs to go to the emergency room, which is last resort for me, of course. But okay, after waiting 8.5 hours near him hospital, no, it was certainly worth the wait. When they took me in, the specialist operated on me right away, and he took out, whatever, discharge. And there's no nice way to talk about it. It's a very sore and infected finger, and it's a mystery. They have all kinds of theories. Did you get something caught in your finger? No, there's a fingernail on it that's bothering me. But since this, so we'll see. I'm going to see one of the specialists I saw. I'm going to see him again on Monday. So we'll see what they do. I think I'll come back with my finger. They said they've never lost a finger yet.
Well, that's good to know.
Patience, yeah, but not fingers. But that, yeah. So typing is kind of ding, 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 ding. Yeah. But I just got to be careful not to keep it clean. And it got better, marvelously better than it was. But then it plateaued. Now it's just staying the same. It's kind of ossified.
No news is good news, right?
Yeah. So I'll probably take off the bandage for the Poe tribute. Oh, by the way, that Edgar Allan Poe tribute, we used to call that, my friend Christian will be master of ceremonies for this. I forget the title he came up with, but it's spiffy. And Poe Returns. And we used to call it, if we gave a Poe tribute at this time of year, it would be called Edgar Allan Poe's Blustery Birthday Bash. And it seems like it will be that. We might, for the reading of Poe's signature poem, The Raven, he has several signature poems, but for The Raven, we might actually go outside and go across the street to the bandstand. There's a gazebo-like bandstand. And
is it supposed to be really cold on Saturday, though?
Oh, we might not.
Single
we might
digits?
just say, what do you think? Nobody's going to want to stay outside. Well, it's supposed to be low 20s last I heard, unless they drop that down, In fact, I'll be singing one of my poems.
History and Imagination, a birthday tribute to Edgar Allan Poe is the name of it.
Bless him. That's a good title. That's catchy. Want to read the whole thing?
Sure, why not? This tribute, presented by Poe and Lovecraft Society of Rhode Island, will celebrate the history and legacy of Mr. Poe presenting selections of his writings, a brief biography, and works inspired by his unique place in the arc of American literature. Beginning at 2 p.m. on the 20th of January, the event should last an hour, with time for questions and discussion after. The event is being hosted at the North Scituate Public Library in North Scituate, Rhode Island. Join us for a blustery birthday bash for America's Misfit Poet.
Yes.
I wonder if the room's going to be all decorated for Halloween. Valentine's Day.
I was in there a few days ago. They got the little paper heart stuff, and they got the the alphabet down on the carpet. That's going to be rolled up.
I'll come in dressed in black, ready to read.
There's only so
glitter everywhere.
Ominous you can make that room. It's a cheerful room. We want
a cheerful children's room.
We want to make it look like a psychiatric hospital ward. We want to dress it down somewhat. But you can see the Smithville, not Smithfield, but Smithville Cemetery right across the street out the window. So that's kind of
tradition to do a little tour after the talk.
Yes.
People come by town and they just see a bunch of people dressed in black walking around the cemetery. Get some looks.
Well, I've been through that before. I tell you about the day I showed you pictures the time I drug a coffin into Swan Point Cemetery for an H.P. Lovecraft tribute. That didn't tie into Lovecraft at all. It's just I had access to a prop coffin, and why not use it? I'll think of a reason for it. But some of these stories.
Why not?
Yes. Well, soon Tom will be with us. I'll give him till 1:15.
Yeah.
Before we reprimand him.
Where is he?
No, he'll be here soon. He'll have a lot to say. In fact, he'll have to talk very fast because he does have a lot to say. Yeah. Now, Tom, as far as I know, I don't know about Tom's spiritual outlook on paranormal investigation research. I don't know
good thing to ask him.
What his religious stance is. I think I will, if I may be so forward and ask him that, because I've never heard him talk about, I called down the angels. I said a prayer when we saw this dark thing in the cemetery. He just seems to be more like practical and scientific about it. Yeah. I'd like to know, where's the supernatural side for him? I kind of wince when I say supernatural, because to me, supernatural is tantamount to impossible. Well, but I mean, supernatural generally connotes, ghosty stuff. Improbable, but not impossible. One of my favorite phrases. I like that. That should be a T-shirt. Improbable. Improbable, but not impossible. And that describes you. Improbable, but not impossible. Sometimes the impossible. You shift over into that. But concerning religion and paranormal investigations, one does have a lot to do with the other, and has nothing to do with the other, because some of the people that we have visited who have claimed to have either activity or dreams or whatnot, we ask a lot of questions, and we do ask them what their religion is, because that's pertinent. Yeah. It is, and it isn't. In certain circumstances, it usually does come into play when we're deciding on how to approach their situation. I have problems sometimes with people who, start talking about demons and demons in the Bible and all this kind of stuff. And you ask them, have you called your family priest? Well, I don't go to church. Well, where did you learn all the demon stuff? Did you just read a book after your cabinet started jiggling and decide it was evil? It's a fine line. You don't want to insult people, but you don't want to fall for believe in everything that they say. Well, I've commonly heard when, we broach that section, of course, people, it's up to them if they want to answer it, but I ask about religious views. What I hear a lot of is, in this region, is Catholic but not practicing. Yeah. They never get it when I say, how can you be perfect? What? Practice makes perfect. By the time you have to explain it, it's kind of lost its impact, Yeah. But you know what I wanted to do, and I forgot to. I'm going to turn off a couple of those background lights since we can be casual for a couple of minutes. Sure. Let's see what it looks like. With the dead air on dead air. Thanks a lot. Just waiting for Tom. So he went all the way downstairs to get the other light switch. Go slow. Maybe we'll hear the ghost steps now that you've done that. Yes. You want to? Maybe I can explain about the ghost steps. You want to explain about the ghost steps that we hear here at the Historical Society? Well, of course, this is the headquarters of the Johnston, Rhode Island Historical Society. So, of course, it's
Yeah,
overrun
these aren't
with
all our files.
no these Panorama Paranormal,
I got 'em
as you
all on
saw
a
on
computer.
television. Should be overrun with ghosts. All these history buffs and nuts here, huh? Well, actually, this building gives, except we have conducted experiments, but may have followed us. Who knows? But this building gives no evidence of being haunted. And a lot of it's subjective anyway. The house on the property, some evidence for that having a personality. But here, if one, like I just walked up and down the stairs, and it's pliable wood, the steps, and I'm over 200 pounds, so considerably. And and it's amazing that it takes this long, 15 to 20 minutes after, depending on the weight of the person. 15 to 20 minutes afterwards, those boards that expanded so slightly, the wood grain, when you step on it, it parts a little. Then it recombines, and because even wood can stretch, and then we start hearing these footsteps in succession, and they really sound like they're ascending.
As the wood pops back into place.
in essence, that's an echo
Yep.
of our footsteps, and it really does sound like somebody walking up the stairs. And
yeah, it took a few incidents of it happening to figure it out, but
and when
after people that were heavier than me went up and down the stairs a few times. I really wish I could figure it out and time it, because that would just be so awesome.
Yeah, you don't expect it, because it does sound like when somebody is sitting in a stairwell. Now,
it's like click, 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 click. Yes, right up.
If that happened, it's when I was hosting the ghost tours at historic Slater Mill in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I don't know if I'd want to debunk that now. I was really into saying, no, you can explain that's a radiator. That's the way the radiator sounds, and that's air pressure and this. But
yeah, I mean, they were there for the excitement and the fun, and they talked themselves right into it. We never presented anything that wasn't happening. We've never made up any stories. We just relayed stories that we had heard. We, told the history of the building, and these people had convinced themselves that they heard all these noises. And you'd say, I think that was maybe something metal, and they're just standing there. Nope. Yes. There was somebody touching that machine. It wasn't the radiator behind you. Nope.
Elise was my apt and able assistant there, and I was very helpful. But the three buildings on campus had such personality. It was made to be haunted, and we did have a lot of genuine, inexplicable, paranormal, if you will.
Well, here we are in a building collection of things that people, kept for years and years in their homes, and things that were donated to the Historical Society or bought online or whatnot. And you would think at least one of these items would have a people with it.
people with it.
At
least what do you think of psychometry? I personally, I think it's wholly treatable.
Is that what happened to your finger?
Yeah.
Bad case of psychometry.
I was hoping I'm treating it right now. Yes, but psychometry.
I don't know. I have heard very credible stories from very credible people that I know and trust. And so, I'm not going to say these things don't happen just because I have never seen anything happen. Never seen electricity either. I know it's there.
It's hard to see air. You can see the effects of air.
I've spent a lot of time studying this stuff, even taking tests. Yeah.
Even when air is visible, it's because of water vapor, moisture droplets in the air.
Well, it's because how it's affected something else.
Right.
So how something has affected it. It's all an effect. Mm-hmm. So, just like.
Well, a lot of these things are detected only through inference, like dark matter, which there's more dark matter than solid observable matter in the universe. Scientists, astrophysicists will say that we really don't know what causes or what is dark matter, but it's a force that propels objects in the universe, even particulates in the universe, pushes things away from each other, like galaxies and planets, and everything seems to be expanding. And it's not, inertia. It's not just slowing down after a time. It actually is accelerating. This force is accelerating the pushing apart of objects. I'll say objects, because there's many different definitions of what it pushes apart, but anything in the object is getting pushed away from each other and it goes faster and faster. Nobody can make any sense about it. That's to do with something. I think it's an echo of original inflation theory.
Who knows?
Yeah, but it's we don't know what it is. We only know it by inference, what it does,
Right.
not what it is. Maybe we can liken that to ghost.
Right.
We don't have a lot of scientific terminology, of course, with this,
Nope.
but we know there are ghosts. We don't know what they are. I know because I've seen them a few times.
Well, that's what I mean. I haven't seen a thing, and that doesn't mean I don't believe that they're there. I haven't really heard anything. I've gotten some EVP that I really can't explain, but at the same time, I don't know if it's somebody's dead relative coming back and making a noise on that tape, or if it's, somebody
just
in the
don't
room
know.
who has
Because you
an
don't
ability to transfer their thoughts onto that
You
tape,
don't impose your theories on it.
because that's what they want to hear. Is that
Excuse
him?
me. Yes, it is. Let's see what Tom
That
has
is
to
our
say.
guest.
Tom, are you with us? Okay.
It's not a seance.
Tom, are you aware of us? Let's see. Can you hear us?
Tom, click the link so you can get on the show.
Yeah, because I can't hear you very well. Do you know how to click the link and get on our show, Tom? I know you just got out of work. Oh, that's why he's calling. He said he clicked on the link and it won't open. Is there that nice, friendly, ghostly presence in the back?
Let's see. I really don't know what else to do because Ken had sent him that link. We can resend it. I'll do it on my phone. This is just what people want to watch, me playing with my phone.
Well, we're having an interesting conversation. That just mutes it and puts it back on. So I tried to jar it that way. All right, we're working with you, Tom. We're trying to try and get that on, see what we can do. I see my face too. I don't see yours.
Yes, but that's not on the show.
No, it's just on my phone.
No.
Because if I could get your face on the phone, Tom, I'd probably just hold the phone up until we resolve it.
I can send him an invitation. Well, no use being on that connection because that's not going to help.
No, but I'll show. This is the man we want. This is the man of the hour. We want this personage here.
Messenger.
Send it to my Yahoo account, thomasspitalere@yahoo.com. Maybe I can click it to that. You sent it to me in Messenger.
Yes. Okay, let me try that right now. Excuse me.
So THOMAS again, 2 S's.
Alrighty.
That's helpful. THOMS.
Okay, so hang up with that.
Thomas.
Yeah, SPITALERE, 2 S's.
Let's go to his whole name. Your name can be a little.
So what are you going to do? Hold
tricky.
the phone up while.
No, we're going to try and resolve it.
So let me go on to that and see if I can't get onto my
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Well, our audience is seeing a work in progress. We may actually achieve
all right,
this.
it'll come from my personal email because I don't know how to actually just connect with this computer because this computer is not mine.
Do you realize there's a big spot above your head on the ceiling? It looks almost paranormal.
It's a water spot.
Yeah, it does look like that. Yeah. So
Thank you all that are watching for your patience while I actually type
yes, we
this
really
out.
have no choice. What can we do? I'll talk with Tom though. Yeah, but I will give you a
I
formal.
can't hear him though.
No, they can't. Not really, because it's very low muted, very low volume. He looks like he's in great consternation, in fact, right now. But as we resolve this,
I haven't gotten email yet.
Okay, it's coming.
it's
I'm
coming
typing.
to you. She's typing. She's got it. So there's an end in sight. A resolution to be found.
Let's see.
In the meantime, I can invite you to my Edgar Allan Poe tribute presentation this Saturday. I know it's a distance for you, though. And it's supposed to be like some light snow squall, but it's just going to be darn cold. That's going to be at the North Situate Public Library. Well, actually, no, this is...
No, not Situate, Mass. Situate, Rhode Island.
Yeah, because you're so used to Situate, Mass. This is about, I don't know, it's equidistant for you. Yeah. I mean, you've traveled distances before, I know, and I appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Back when we used to have access to Ladd Observatory and did the
Have you received that yet? All right, let me try this one more time. Try to send it from here. I don't even know which account that's coming from, but
Which,
THOMASSPITALERE@yahoo.com.
alrighty.
contiguous.
Invite.
When will it be coming up?
Oh, he had spelled your name wrong. That's why. SPITALERE.com.
Yeah, and 2 S's, correct.
All right, now it should be coming. That's why I used one that was already saved in this computer.
Yeah, it'd be a double S because Thomas and then Spitalere with no change in it. No break in it.
He had spelled your name wrong the last time he sent you something. That is why.
I might have, yeah. No, but I usually look it up and get it right, but then.
No.
What do you see, Tom? What do you see?
I see you.
It sounds like a wise,
Oh my
wise
goodness.
answer. Nothing yet. I see you,
Yes.
but I see nothing.
Messenger is so much easier. But...
Yeah.
So, and not I sent it twice.
I got it now. I'm just trying to figure out where you enter here.
He's trying to impose it.
There's just something to click on. Let me see.
I just clicked on it and it gave me this whole long thing.
Whole long thing.
Yeah.
What does the long thing say?
Yes, instructions. I just want to get on.
Let's see. I don't even know because I haven't been on the. That's the one for sharing. That's the one. Oh, that's back to. I really don't know what else to.
You know, it's the breakage and transferring it. So you resent him.
I'm just joining those broadcasts. I can't see it. Just join in.
How
They make it sound like
about?
that easy. So you sent him the.
Yeah, I sent him the
link.
same one that. Yeah.
Where the heck is this thing? Usually when I do these things, I can just.
Yeah.
Right. I just sent it to Messenger again because I just happen to have it on there. But I don't know.
Can you grab it from Messenger?
I sent it.
I
This
just
was.
tried that one too.
I did
And it said the
invite.
Same thing.
Invite.
Open this page in Safari. I have Safari. It won't open. That's the problem, guys. It's not opening. I'm trying to use my phone.
I don't know if that would be a problem. You'll need. Yeah, it does say that you'll need a laptop or desktop, a recent version of Chrome or Firefox, a mic and a webcam, and a good internet connection. So it doesn't work with a phone.
He's going to get. He's going to get his laptop. I heard the creaking door.
If I lose you, I'll call you right back.
Okay.
So you do need a laptop or a desktop to do this.
Yeah, we have run into that before. Rarely. Tom is retrieving his laptop, and hopefully that's going to be the key.
So one of your viewers says, I often connect with spirits, even ancient spirits, and what they said actually happens sometimes later days, months, or years.
I think I know who that might be. In fact, yeah.
It might happen to me, but I have a terrible memory. So.
You erase the ancient memories.
All right, let's let him do what he's doing. We can chat some more.
Yeah.
Turn that down a little bit.
I kind of like his creaking and
The
everything.
noise.
Yeah, Tom's working on getting through.
Well, I've been looking into something that I was reading about in one of the Rhine people, the Rhine Research Center. Somebody was doing some research. I know. doing research on people who see apparitions and people who don't see apparitions.
Excuse me.
Right?
Yes. Have some tea.
And in my a lot of my reading about the paranormal and people who people are affected by the paranormal, I've learned that there are some people who have something called aphantasia. And aphantasia is when someone says, close your eyes and imagine yourself on a beach. You see waves, you see sand, you see a girl in a bikini. When I close my eyes, I see nothing. I always thought that your mind's eye, I run into this a lot with yoga and a lot of mindfulness practices. When they talk about your mind's eye, see it in your mind's eye. I see nothing. And I did not know that was a thing where some people, it doesn't have to be a photographic memory, but it is, they can still see something. Look at this cup, close your eyes and you can see it. I can't, it's gone. My eyes are closed. All I see is black.
When you used to always say to me, I don't know you. I thought you meant that
no,
metaphorically.
It's not that I forget.
No, I know it.
I recognize things. I know what an apple looks like. I could describe an apple, but I do not see an apple.
Listen, because right away I think of a red apple.
I think in words. I don't think in pictures.
Mine is very visual. My imagination, my relation.
What this study is trying to figure out a little bit is if people like me who think in words and don't think in pictures would see an apparition. That might be a deciding factor in who sees things and who doesn't. Because those images may be coming from your own idea of what it should look like, if that's the right way to put it. Why do so many people see a female ghost in a white dress? Because that's what they're expecting to see. That is what we see on TV. That is
even
what
subconsciously they may not
seen
be
throughout the years. It's always some woman in a white Victorian dress. Were they all buried in white? No, they didn't go out and buy white dresses all the time. You got buried in whatever you had if you didn't have any money. So I think I offered to. I took the preliminary thing to see if I could get in on the study because I find that really, really interesting.
You should be in on that.
I just never knew that people really saw things with their mind's eye. I just thought that, I don't know.
Yes, Tom.
I'm not getting any Wi-Fi here at all. I had it on my phone and I'm not being able to connect to my phone.
Right.
At all. The other thing we could do is you want to I hate to do this to you, but I don't know any other way to get on unless I'm somewhere and I'm not anywhere near Wi-Fi. I thought I could use my phone tonight and I'm not getting on my phone at all for some odd reason. And I've done podcasts with people on their phones.
Yeah, for some reason,
my phone.
StreamYard doesn't seem to.
This is the ghostly Tom Spitalere. So, what's your recommendation, Tom? What would you like to do?
You want to postpone tonight, move it to another night?
I think we're going to have to do that.
Where I know I could be to a stronger, and I know where I'll be in a stronger Wi-Fi.
That sounds like a good idea.
As long as you'll come back, yeah, because we both have definite questions. We both have.
When you want me back, we can book it right now.
We already have somebody for February 1st, which I believe is the Thursday. So 2 weeks after that would be what? 1, 8, 15?
Yeah. Good.
February 15th,
take
I
away
believe.
that one day.
I'll double check that with you. But so that would be 4 weeks from tonight.
I'll put it in my calendar for February 15th, 4 weeks from tonight, and I'll be in a stronger location.
All right,
I'll
that
give
sounds
you one
good.
hell of a whopping show. Sorry about that, guys.
You don't want to do it.
Anybody didn't hear that? We're gonna have one hell of a whopping show in a month from now.
Unless we want to just do it like this, but it's not doing you justice, Tom.
That's not gonna work.
No.
It looks like an interrogation room with this, security cam in the corner.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Why don't we just do that now? All right.
That sounds good.
This is who you're going to have. You're going to have this man here, this floating head here, It's coming
He's gonna come and
by.
haunt us.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Thanks for
Okay,
trying.
yeah, we'll double
Sorry.
explain it and
I
everything.
forgot all about that. That
Yeah.
it doesn't really work on.
You're an
phones,
unusual
but,
guest anyway, Tom, so this is almost apropos.
All right.
Okay, we'll talk soon, my friend.
So we'll finish our little talk about my
Bye-bye.
odd way of thinking. Someone asked, do I dream in pictures? No. I sometimes I'll wake up and think something's happening, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that was a dream. Wow, I really should write that down because I know how valuable it is to write down your dreams. And by the time I can grab a pencil, it's gone. I really very rarely have recollections of dreams. Very rarely. And even then, it's just little snippets of how ridiculous it was. Because I usually only dream after I've had a big bowl of popcorn before bed. I don't know why it gives me strange dreams. But again, by the time I realize it and I start thinking it through, it's gone. The ideas just disappear. But they're not pictures. They're ideas.
Unfortunately, you dream in
Like
pictures,
I've heard a
so
story.
It's not like you just have a blank screen when you dream.
I don't remember.
It's not connected directly.
I do not remember
what
I've seen. A little bit of what I've thought, but then it goes and goes and goes. Goes flying around with.
Yeah, I vividly, I don't retain it for long. Like, and I don't think we're meant to. And if you really want to remember a dream, you got to write it down. I don't do that. But I dream very vividly. I can remember when my dreams are in color or quasi-color. They're kind of muted blues and
do you get that little peacock like they used to put on NBC?
Yeah,
to show it's in color.
But it's dead when I see him. And yeah, in color.
In living color.
Living color. Sometimes my dreams are very vivid, like realistic colors, bright reds and blues. And
are they ever premonitions? Do these things ever come true?
Oh, frequently, yes. I went through a whole spate where I became a prophet. Now I would dream about something like I was working for a dental agency, and this is just one of many instances where, and I dreamt of a certain terrier, the black and white with some brown edging to the black spots. And lo and behold, the next day I was at the reception desk, and this lady comes in holding that dog, and that's the dog I dreamt of. There's so many things.
That's so funny.
In fact, in the street where you live, I
me.
dreamt of, there's a traffic light now, but there used to be just a flashing yellow amber light. And I remember that dreaming about that. It stuck in my mind. And then the next day, I was almost run into by a truck coming down Brown Avenue. Why they were coming down there, I don't know. But it's maybe that's why I dreamt that.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, they're usually not useful things, but I do dream about the things that will come to pass. Synchronicity plays into it. And yeah, but my dreams are very vivid, very pictorial.
Wow.
And I can, in fact, I have had lucid dreams. You know, you're somewhat aware that you're dreaming. And I remember experimenting. I've done it even a couple of weeks ago. I said, well, let's see what wood is like, this wood grain. Yeah, I can feel it. It's a little different, but I can feel it. I can feel the wood. I can tell hot and cold, And I found when you bang your leg in a dream, it still hurts. It really hurt when I wake up.
A bruise?
No, it didn't go that far as imaginary. But then they say if you are falling in your dream and you hit the ground, you will die. I should be dead several times over because I've hit before. And one time, I was a kid. I was like 13. I dreamt that my parents had a stone wall outside in the yard and the backyard, and there was the sharp edges to the stones. And I dreamt I was trying to jump that, and I missed it and hit. And boy, did that hurt in the dream. So I find if I control my dreams, which I can, what it'll do, they get distorted, and I can't really make them go the way I want. That's not what I mean by control them. I can distort them. And if I make too much of an effort, it will wake me up. And there's even a voice saying, do you really want to wake up? Do you see what you want? And you want to let this happen.
That's weird.
Yeah. There was, what's that? I should read some of these comments. And I can with these spectacles.
You found your glasses.
Oh, yeah. I did when I had to bring stuff out of my trunk today because I had my flat tire.
I know you had mentioned you couldn't find them.
Yeah. What do you got? I had an interesting conversation with Mike Ricksecker asking about perception of shadow people and people with, what's that?
Astigmatism.
I thought so.
Is that what you
Like
got?
that's what I got. No, I just paused on that word, and it's astigmatism. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what actually that just means that my eyes, aren't receiving the visual the same. So I have to kind of close one eye. Yeah, yeah. Mike is very interesting, having made a study about this, about shadow people, about many subjects, but about shadow people perhaps in particular, and time traveling, time distortions. Um, yeah, shadow people. That's another thing that we know a lot of from inference. Shadow people aren't telling us what they are, and of course that lends to a lot of theory. Are they a form of extraterrestrial? Are they here to confiscate evidence? Are they spying on us? Are they interested in us? They don't fit the standard definition of a ghost, but there are commonalities among shadow people. They can be taller, they can be short. They often are dressed. They have some kind of clothing on, it seems, and they move very quickly. They dart around and they can walk backwards, which is particularly spooky to me.
Well, I always wondered because I used to have a lot of trouble sleeping, which I've been working on successfully. But one of the things I started to do was to make sure there was no light in my room. I have blackout shades, blackout curtains, all lights off. My phone charger is under a towel, so I can't see the little blue light. It is pitch black. Would someone that sees a shadow person, shadow people, or some sort of apparitions still be able to see them in those conditions?
Because there's nothing to contrast the image.
Because, whether my eyes are open or closed, everything's just black.
Yeah. Well, one of the most interesting shadow persons, if you will, I've seen was the entity at what we call the Conjuring House, 1677 Round Top Road in Harrisville, Rhode Island. It was a black, I won't even say form, it's just a blackness, like there's a hole cut in reality. And it moves around. Other people have seen it since. And it's a darkening. That's what I call it, the darkening. It comes downstairs. It seeks egress. It doesn't just osmosis go through walls. But that's a shadow being, and it does seem to have been some kind of awareness and cognizance to it, And it
But
can
would
be
you have been able to see that had it been dark?
No, I'm sure I couldn't. I might have sensed it or felt it somehow, but no, I would not have seen that, because what it was blocking out reality, blocking out light, which made the impression of a shadow. It wasn't really a shadow.
Right.
Interesting about shadow people, they seem, from what I've heard, Mike Ricksecker and I have talked, and other people, they seem responsive to living human beings. That doesn't mean that guardian angels are particularly like us, or maybe not even find us interesting, but you can influence them. If you're nice to them and you say, I really am interested in you, I don't want to bother you, they'll tend to come around you more. And certainly we had a resident shadow person in Slater Mill in Pawtucket, but only I should say only, then again, shadowy forms showed up in the cottage, Sylvanus Brown house. And the shadow person was mostly rooted in Wilkinson Mill, which is a stone mill built between 1810 and 1811. There's a machine shop exhibit there. It was a machine shop and a water wheel pit. And the shadow person was pronounced there. Shadow person was being seen there before I started working there in 2006. I'd been there for some months when two ladies were actually agitated. They were upset. They were scared. They saw something in the window of the machine shop. There's something walking in there. Someone.
Isn't that what they came for?
No, this wasn't the ghost hunt. This was a daytime. Okay. This was before the ghost hunts were born unto Slater Mill, before I created that program. And the only reason I did was because so many people were asking, excuse me, this is going to sound silly, but is your mill haunted? They didn't always want to be known, that they asked that. But no, this was before we started the ghost hunts there, the ghost tours. And two ladies, I remember them, mature, 30-ish, and they were asking about, what's in there? They were telling us, reporting that they saw something, and it was making them nervous. I said, these girls have no reason to say that, and they're obviously agitated. So the educational director and I, Richard Danforth, we went inside the machine shop exhibit and down to the waterway pit. Of course, nobody there, but they saw something, and I was hearing that more from other people too. And finally, I was favored to see the shadow person. I saw the shadow person there, I believe, just twice, but they were both very definite sightings. And yeah, it's something. And that shadow person was elusive. When we started the ghost hunts, I'd talk about the shadow person there. It wouldn't really make an appearance, except sometimes you'd throw things or poltergeist activity. Something would propel like a heavy spike, iron spike across the floor.
But I mean, you know, from what I've learned, that could also be one of the visitors. Really, yeah.
Yeah, using their ability that they may not even know they had.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be really cool if something flew across the floor and then it does?
It's interesting.
Somebody with an ability that doesn't know it.
I extended the invitation to the spirit there. I said, you know, if you'd like it, I would say, because it was a man's place to work, at least the machine shop, I'd say, we have brought women and young people into your mill. I realize that is a violation of mill protocol. So if you want us to leave, just give us a sign. We'll clear out. We'll leave anyway. We'll just leave sooner if you tell us something. Twice when I said that, spike, and it actually was propelled through the air. And the shadow ghost wouldn't put in too many appearances. Just in an article by the Sun Chronicle publication, there, the shadow ghost comes out in a picture. I saw that picture. And didn't recognize it as such. It was, well, that's it. And I started being really nice to the shadow person. I started treating it respectfully. I told everybody, don't threaten or insult or try to get, you know, just the provocation, get some kind of result. So we're going to take these little glass pebbles, we're going to toss them into the water wheel pit. And that's like paying the ferryman over the river Styx. We're paying for the permission from this person that remains there. This is your place of work. And then the shadow person started appearing more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, that should be a disclaimer in just about every one of those public ghost hunts that anybody has is, you know, just be nice.
Yeah, it helps with mechanical equipment, and it helps with ghosts. They tend to perform better if you're nice to them, respectful. Oh, yeah.
Just like most people.
Yeah, I never agreed with yelling at the spirits.
Ghosts are people, too.
Yeah. I even have a sympathy for demons. Not that I say, come on, we're going to talk about it. Come back with me. No, but, you know, I realize that's a cognizance. It's a soul, a spirit in pain. And I was at a paranormal investigation at a 3-story brownstone house in Brooklyn, New York. And one of our members of our team at the time, it was the Atlantic Paranormal Society. And one member went up there and he did what he felt he was supposed to do. He started yelling and swearing at the spirit. He's beating up in the air, really. And he's yelling at the spirit that, you know, come on, you terrify a little girl. Why don't you take me on, huh? Why'd you try me? And he's going on this bombastic diatribe.
So well.
I mean, what's that going to do? Scare the ghost? So when he was done, I actually went in the room and I said, I must apologize for my young friend. I don't know. I don't like being on bad terms with the spirits. We assume they're there. And boy, the spirit answered him back on a recording, you know, used an F-bomb and, you know, mm-hmm. Actually it was like, yeah. Wait, we got something. Yeah. F you, man. And then the spirit made a funny noise, went. So I called the spirit wise guy, and we got along with the spirit a lot better after that. Yeah. But as far as seeing spirits, I've seen them myself. 9 times I counted, mm-hmm. 9 times altogether. 4 of those with the same spirit, though. But 9 times I've seen a ghost. And when I say see a ghost, it usually has to be something like I'm looking at you. It looks like a solid person, then suddenly it's not there.
Yeah, those are some of the most credible stories. From people I don't know, things I've read about. The most credible stories are from people who just aren't involved in this at all. Mm-hmm. And said, you know, I saw a small boy in the cemetery, and I was concerned that he had run away from, you know, a group of adults. So I started chasing him and he disappeared. Those are the kinds of stories that, you know,
same with the battlefields, Gettysburg battlefields. Persons have interacted with the spirit. It's called the Lemke. That's a term Ed Warren used to use. A spirit that presents as a living person. Suddenly it's gone. A Civil War soldier came up to 2 reenactors and started talking with them. And they just thought he was another reenactor, even though they didn't recognize him. But he left 2 rifle magazines wrapped with powder. The powder was wrapped with paper. And that was from the Civil War. And it wasn't old. That's how they made them there.
Yeah.
So it really didn't seem like this was an actor. Yeah. So sometimes they do come back. They transcend time. You know.
Only we could figure out the formula,
Yeah.
have
Well,
it be useful in some way for people who are here today. You
what
know?
did Nikola Tesla say about understanding the universe? If you want to understand the universe, think in terms of
Energy and vibration.
energy and vibration. Yeah. If we could ever establish the frequency on which what invites the spirit in.
That's it. I mean, it's, you know, is there a visual spectrum that everything's appearing in? Is there some sound frequency that everything's, you know, sounding in? And we just, most of us just don't pick that up.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, I've got great hearing for a old person.
Yeah,
You know, they used to
you
play
do.
that little high pitched sound that only teenagers could hear. I could hear that up until a couple of years ago. So, you know, I have very good hearing. Maybe it just doesn't, you know, pick up any of those things.
You've been hearing a noise lately that I don't know if everybody else picks up on it, or a lot of these noises I just would ignore.
I'm looking for a definite explanation for that. I mean, we are in the middle of two busy roads, and I hear like a rumbling that sounds like a truck going by, and there's no truck going by. And because I keep saying, "Did you hear that?" and nobody else seems
I've heard
to
it twice
have
at
heard
the
it.
same time you heard it, so it's got to be something that's objective, not just you.
So maybe it's just the sugar from the pastries getting in me, getting a sugar high, and things are vibrating.
Could be. That's something that's especially spooky to me is extraneous noises, mysterious noises. You really can't explain them. And there's information online about that.
Here's a question for you, because I have
Oh,
like
good.
no clue. Can you
This
discuss
is
a bit about the
helping.
making and breaking of connections between our reality and the spiritual side?
I think they're incidental. They don't always happen on purpose. Because I've replicated the same experiment, hoping to get the same results, and it doesn't seem to work. Breaking connection. So I will say that sometimes I think it's difficult to break the connection once it's established. The spirit wants to speak to you, however you define the spirit wants to speak. We are receptive. We want to hear from the spirit. Sometimes when they establish that, they don't want to let go. Some people want that to stop. Like, don't follow me.
But why is it some people can just will somebody to talk to them and some people can't? I mean, I've been doing a lot of family research, and I've learned a lot about a couple of people in my family that I'm like, damn, I never knew all this stuff. You know, I only knew them when I was a kid, but I'm like, oh, please come talk to me. I'd like to ask you a few questions because, you know, about things now I just have a little bit of clue about. You know, my great grandmother, I found out, you know, raised two kids all by herself. I never looked at it that way. I just knew she was my great grandmother. And then you start learning, like, wow, she was a widow at a very young age, and she raised these kids all by herself and sent her son off to war. And I'd love to talk to her. I'd like to get some answers from her. I think about her a lot. I talk to her. Don't hear a thing.
Well, when spirits won't communicate with us, it's not so much that they won't. I think it's because they can't. I don't think there's any
That's what I
universal
mean.
law that says
What
they
is the
Common
I don't want to say the
denominator?
yeah, what's
Yeah.
the common? What is, you know, what's it going to take?
That's what I've been working
You know?
on, trying to isolate it, because conditions, if they change
Right.
ever so slightly, it's
I don't
not
think
the
it's
same
sitting
experiment.
in a dark room holding hands with somebody with your eyes closed, lighting a candle and chanting. I mean, I
And that'll
just
help
don't think
focus one's concentration. That's the benefit.
maybe that'll help a person. But you know, there are some people who think that's going to attract spirits, and I just don't buy into that.
I think what works with living people generally can work with spirits. You coax them to come in. You treat them respectfully, all that. But
Right,
sometimes you
but-
just walk into that environment and there it is.
But what if you have all that and you have, you know, the connection to them? You have your nice person. You're just looking for some answers. Why aren't they answering?
Or if they do have a cognizance, you may remind them of someone they knew in life and they're responsive. I've wondered about that with the spirit of little Becca, the little girl ghost in the Sylvanus Brown house. She gave all indications of being a child spirit. And she evolved as I did with my research of her. We never got who really ascertained just who this Rebecca was.
Was she seen there without you?
Yes. Whether she, you know, who can like the forest fall, you know, can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah,
or,
no,
you
I
know.
just want to, you know, anybody else could say, hey, is there a little girl? And you just,
Yes,
you didn't
yeah,
happen to
no,
be
I
around?
didn't make her up. I didn't invent.
Oh, I don't mean you made her up. I meant, you know, it wasn't a projection from you.
I nurtured her. I wanted people to experience her. No, I mean, yeah, you're saying, could this actually come from my mind?
Right.
Inadvertently. No, I don't believe so because other people saw her before I did, and
Just
they
wondering.
described. Oh, I remember we'd already started the ghost hunts and as a program, and someone came up and said something about the little girl in the
Right, yeah.
house. I said, "Oh my word, that's one of the spirits we speak to." Yeah, she manifested him as a little girl. I don't know what her origin really was. There was a Rebecca who lived and died in that house,
Yeah, that's
but
a
she was
very
80 when she died. So.
right, and that's a tough one. I mean, that was a very popular name, 1700s, early 1800s. The house was moved. You know, there was something else on the land there before her, and that's a tough one.
Yeah. Now, Becca followed me, though. What I'll call Becca, that's a term. It personifies this presence, this energy that was in the house. And yeah, people saw the little girl. I remember when I first heard about her, somebody said this. She waited till the end of the tour. She said, "I have something to tell you afterwards." Not somebody's looking for attention. She told me that she saw out of the two gambrel windows in the back, on the right side one, she saw a little girl looking out at her. And she looked back down at the herbal garden, looked back up, and that little face was still peering down at her. Well, she was sincere. People have seen her, after that. So, and even a couple of instances before I knew of her. So I think this was there, and it didn't proceed for me. I just picked up on her some. I never saw her visually, and like I said, maybe flitting shadow, but other people described her, and they were consistent. And she had like shoulder length, a little below shoulders, light brown hair. Some people said a blue dress, some people said a white dress. But it was always a dress, and she was about 11 or 12 years old, they said. So Becca, we have an idea what she looked like.
We got
So many
8:57 on the clock. Can you believe it? We've been sitting here just talking, and people actually listening to us. God bless them.
Well, that's a subject that interests them.
Would you like me to read that one, and you can answer this one?
Please
also?
do, yeah, rather than me pressing my nose up against the screen again.
How would you differentiate influence of energy from an outside source versus something internal, like in the Christian tradition of connection to darker forces through sin?
It's subjective, so it's hard to define. It's a gut feeling, basically. Also, the criteria could be the information you receive. You can know if it's internal or external, but sometimes it's just you get a feeling that it's something from the outside, something without, not within. That could be also called discernment if you're dealing with darker forces. Trying to discern them. Some people have what they call the gift of discernment. They can feel if it's like a negative spirit, a demon, if you will, or something of that ilk, if there is other things of that ilk. And sometimes it's brighter and angelic. So I think that's just a feeling you get about it. But if you get direct messages, it's easier to tell. Like you kind of know when it's coming from outside. It doesn't feel like it just arose within you.
See, I think that might be part of my problem too. Is there's a party going on in here 24/7. It's really hard to quiet it down.
Can I come in? Yeah.
So maybe they are knocking on my door, and I just don't see them, don't hear them, don't feel them because it's.
Well, that's a thought
so
too.
much
That they're always
going
yelling at us and trying to get through to us, and maybe they are. We just. It's not that we're too dull to receive them; we're just not equipped to. And some persons will say, "Well, you can train yourself to." I don't know. But that Becca we called her Becca because that was the name that imprinted itself on 6 audio recordings. Becca, hey, we've got this name. Let's run with it. That's her name, and that'll be her name. That's how we'll refer to her anyway.
Yeah.
And she followed me. The only entity that I know of that followed me from Spitalere Mill. We always had people. How do I know I'm not going to get an attachment? Just don't lean against anything sticky. You'll be okay. And, sticky walls. And this voice, one time we did the ghost hunt. It was 2018, Halloween, October 2018, and right that month. And I sent 2 of the ladies downstairs to the kitchen area by themselves. I said, let's see if you pick up something. It's kind of spooky down there, but you want somebody with you to make sure you don't trip in the semi-darkness, and also to corroborate if anything happens. So I sent 2 ladies about 20 years apart in age, and they went downstairs, and one of them was Crystal Pez. And 5 minutes later, I heard bump, 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 bump. They're coming up the stairs, and they said, we heard something. We heard the latch was moving, and then we heard like a witch's cry. I said, well, okay, fanciful, but they sure looked like they heard something. I didn't know how to define witch's cry, but I was down there and I saw a latch moving and heard it. So the flash ahead to the next, what was it? Yeah, the next, actually, it was just a month later, come to think of it, because that was in like early September. And then we're into October, and we're in that Sylvanus Brown cottage built in 1758. And I said, you may see something's a little strange here, but there's people say there's a presence here. And they didn't seem to be interested in hearing ghost stories. So I just said that for what it was worth. Then we're all gathered in the receiving room, which could also be called the parlor. And we heard this sound. There were 5 of us. One was a little baby, but 5 of us, and 6 you count me. And we heard this. It sounded like a voice sideways. That's not going to make sense, but it was loud, and it was trying to enunciate. It was like it sounded even less natural than that. It was this noise, but it was obviously a voice. It sounded like it was a voice trying to form. What the heck is that? So everybody turns, and I said, well, this is what I was talking about. I went into the dining room, and there was no one there. Well, that was interesting. And my theory was that it's very interesting to me, because my theory was that that's the spirit. It's been talking like a little girl. Voice comes out of recordings. So we hear her audibly, and maybe it's breaking through to our dimensional plane. Maybe it's coming through and it's finally getting its voice through, but it's can't perfect it so that we can understand. And it was after Slater Mill closed down, because of certain considerations, like COVID was a big one, closed down for a time, and I wasn't there anymore. So I was taking a walk on my meditative site in North Situate, and driving away from there down Rock Hill Road. I turn the corner on Elmdale. I hear that voice again, and it's in the car next to me in the passenger seat. And it's loud as anything. It was exactly what I heard in Sylvanus Brown House. That like GPS, it honed in on me, probably knowing I was the person who spoke to it all those years. I was the one who's trying to establish contact. I was the gentle one, the funny guy that would talk to the spirit. And there I heard that voice. And I said, boy, this is a breakthrough. Now the spirit's really trying to communicate with me. I haven't heard it since. Never heard it again.
You didn't do any kind of a ritual to get rid of it, or?
No, I called you. But no, I just said, well, I had to say something. I said, I was thrilled. I said, I hear you. I hear you. You found me. You're welcome. Speak to me anytime. I'm so glad to hear from you again. And I had trouble understanding you, but I know it's you. And didn't hear it again. Whether I ever will, I can't say, but it was remarkable that I wasn't even thinking of that spirit, and I heard that voice again. So that
interesting.
That broke through. That was a responsive spirit.
Well, guess what time it is? 9:03.
9:03.
I want to thank those of you who stuck with us through this hour, because as you probably were with us at the beginning, saw that Tom couldn't make the connection. He actually did try to make the show. He couldn't make the connection to actually appear on the show, so he'll join us back in a month.
But we do believe in Tom Spitalere. We believe he's real, and he really wants to communicate with us, and something tells me he'll be back. Because
we do have a good guest already lined up 2 weeks from tonight.
Yes.
February 1st, I believe it is, will be our next show, and we will have a woman who does historical research, archiving, genealogy, all that kind of stuff. She's written the book on it. She's so good at it, and I started reading it thinking it would just be a little interesting thing I could flip through, and an hour later, I was still reading the book, and I had to put it down and go do some chores. So I can't wait to get back to that. And I think you'll really enjoy talking to her, and she'll answer some questions for us if anybody wants to write in with some questions. So yes, it's enough of listening to me complain that I haven't seen any ghosts yet. And before we turn to like trying to bend spoons or anything, we should just say goodnight.
You've had a few what could be called supernatural experiences, but we'll talk about them later. But not really looking at a ghost or hearing a ghost.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, folks. Thank you so much, and we shall be back.
Thank you very much.
Happy
Good night.
January. Bye-bye.
You've got to play us out, don't I?
Yes. You'll find it. All those pictures we show.